Cohen.
Thank you, Chairman Graves and Ranking Member Larson, for holding this important hearing on the federal response to the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Maryland. Further extend my condolences to the families of the 6 individuals who lost their lives during the collapse. Thank our esteemed witnesses for appearing here today, especially Administrator Bhatt, who was with us in Memphis on Monday. Appreciate your coming to see the I-55 bridge and the urgent need to replace it across the Mississippi River at Memphis and West Memphis. That is, of course, as you well know, a national treasure to have transportation going across the country there at I-40. We had the I-40 bridge have a problem last year and shut down. I-55 bridge could have the same problem, because it's in the New Madrid earthquake fault zone, which is predicted to occur. It's been predicted for about 20 years, but it's going to occur, and it's more likely sooner than later. As y'all look at the damages to the Key Bridge, which were caused partially, I think, because it wasn't built to withstand that large of a boat, and it could have been maybe the piers could have been buttressed and made it more stable. Is that correct? Mr. Bhatt, can you answer?
Thank you, Representative Cohen, and yes, it was good to spend some time with you in Memphis looking at that bridge. I think one of the things we're waiting for, and it was great to see the preliminary report from the NTSB, but I think we're going to be working closely with the NTSB just to figure out exactly what types of protection might be needed for bridges and what could have been possible, but again, I don't want to step into the NTSB realm.
I'm sorry. Please.
Thank you, sir. For the Key Bridge, we are obviously looking at, there were 2 dolphins on the east side, 2 on the west side. They're rather small, and the vessel just sort of bypassed the dolphins. What ended up striking the pier was the starboard side of the bow that hit the column. The pier protection around the column itself is timber, concrete, a little bit of steel, but it's very close into the pier itself. Other structures that we're looking at have pier protection that comes out farther so that a vessel can't get to the column. Other dolphins are much larger, so we are looking at other structures across the United States to see what might be good models. I think the key here is you have a bridge that was opened in 1977, and over time, it's not the bridge that's getting larger, it's not the waterway that's getting larger, it's the vessels that are getting larger, and not just width, but height. With containers. And so it's important that states and other bridge owners are looking at, from a risk assessment standpoint, what is now going through, what is the vessel traffic, and how is our infrastructure protected?
So were the bridges built after 1977 that were built in a fashion that they would have been able to withstand such an impact?
You have to, yeah.
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. It's an important question. We are working with our state DOT partners to identify all of the bridges that are subject to, seagoing vessels, also, in the Great Lakes region, barge traffic on the Mississippi and other waterways. I think what this bridge incident has done is driven home that need to look at many of our bridges, which are older, and look at that protection, and we're going to rely on the NTSB recommendations. Again, there was a lot of force. I've heard different, analogies of the force, the equivalent of a rocket ship taking off, and so we just want to be careful in our consideration of how we both protect and build bridges in the 21st century as they're dealing with these new potential threats.
Thank you. I just would like to urge you, as I did in Memphis, that we need to look at preventative measures so we don't have another Francis Scott Key Bridge disaster. And earthquakes would cause that. And there's no place in the United States, I think, more vulnerable than than the new Madrid Fault and the I-55 bridge that was built before there were seismic standards that were not part of the bridge. So it's deficient, needs to be replaced, and hope that you'll look in terms, just as this disaster, at the bridges that we fund under the bipartisan infrastructure bill be ones that might be susceptible to either earth, God created, I hate to say God, I hate to give God responsibility, but the disasters that are caused by other than man-made disasters. I yield back, and I thank you for coming, and Elvis thanks you too.
Mr. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll begin by just offering my condolences to the family